everyone. Welcome to Listen and Chill, a podcast where you sit back, relax. We talk about everything that is going on in today's society. My name is Margie Rodriguez, and today we are talking about the Oscars. Our guest today is Bradley Garcia, who is a very big cinephile, as myself, and has a lot to say about this year's nominations. Bradley, thanks for being here. How are you doing today?
I am great. Thank you for having me on.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up here in Lubbock, Texas. I went to Texas Tech University. Me and you had a few classes as well. What I do job-wise, I'm substitute teaching at the moment. I like to consider myself a filmmaker. I've been working on some other projects as well. I'm also a podcaster, The Snake Pit with Rattlesnake Roy. My friend that started it, I was a guest on his show. I came on and we were talking about the film that I did, The Shadows Are Upon You. And then we kind of just gained a big friendship. He joined me on and I became a co-host on that one. Pirate Radio, which is like guy talk, pretty much that kind. We kind of go through into deep conversations. Another one that I'm pretty big into is called Lords of Film. My other co-host, Jen, we get together and we review movies new and old, have guests on, and we just talk about film.
Cool. Well, also Bradley, he's a really great actor, and he also made a really good short film. Do you remember that one that you showed me, the one in black and white? That one is so good. If you have it, please send me the link so I can put it in my bio. Let's get down to business. First and foremost, did you see all the best pictures this year?
I didn't see every one, but I did see a good chunk of them. I didn't get a chance to see All Quiet on the Western Front, Women Talking, and I want to say those were the only two I didn't get to see. So I saw a good chunk of them.
Overall, your impressions of the nominations when you heard of it, what was your first impression?
This is the first year in a good while since I've cared about the Oscars. You know, growing up as a kid, I always would watch the Oscars. That was always a big thing for me. A lot of times I didn't know what films they were talking about, but I still enjoyed it. Birdman was really like the first film that I really got into, and it got me into the Oscars. But this is the first year I really cared about the nominees.
I love to do it every year. It's like an annual thing for me. And for me this year, my impressions were really like, I don't know. I even woke up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. just to see the nominations. But the thing is that I just wasn't that impressed. There were really good movies this past year. So many good movies. And I feel like a lot of them were blindsided, or I don't know how to say it, but like they were not seen that much. Why don't we start with the best of all, best picture? We have All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Woman Talking. So, Bradley, what do you think?
Looking back at the list, Avatar was another one I didn't see. Avatar has always been that film I never really cared to see. I understand how revolutionary it is, like film techniques it uses. Out of the nominees, there were some good ones this year. I did enjoy Elvis. That actually surprised me. I didn't think I was going to like it. Everything Everywhere All at Once was a big hit. Another surprise hit that I didn't really care to see at first, but I went to go see it and I absolutely loved it. The Fabelmans, I would say, was probably my favorite, the Steven Spielberg movie. It really hit home with that. I really understood, especially with dealing with family and dealing with art, trying to juggle the two. That was a good one. Tar, I recently saw. Cate Blanchett did a great performance. Top Gun Maverick, that was probably my favorite blockbuster of the year. And then the last one I've seen was Triangle of Sadness. Yeah, that was another great one too. The last half of it, I felt like it didn't really finish too strong. But as a film overall, it was pretty great.
I've seen all of the Best Picture nominees except Woman Talking, and to be honest, I'm not interested in watching it. Like, I'm just not interested in watching that movie. I saw the trailer and everything, and it's just not, it doesn't speak to me. And I would be very surprised if it does win, but I don't think it's gonna win. And I know the Oscars, and I feel like they always have to have like a controversial movie, and I feel like that's the one, even though I don't know what's it about.
I think it deals with the Amish people.
Yes,
and what they've been going through.
It's the same creators of Nomadland, so I know that it's very beautiful and everything, but I'm just not, maybe I'll see it during this time before the Oscars, but it's not like something that I need to see. All Quiet on the Western Front, I highly recommend you to watch it because it's so easy to watch it just on Netflix, but it is so beautiful. I'm very into like war movies, and the last war movie that I saw that really catch my eye was 1917, and it really reminded me of that. It's just so real. You know that it happened, and it made it look so more real because it's a German movie. I don't know if you knew, but All Quiet on the Western Front, it's a remake of another movie. The original movie won Best Picture. I think it was the second Oscar winning movie to win Best Picture.
Yeah, it was like 1938 that had one.
Yeah.
That was a big reason why I hadn't watched it just yet, because I did watch the original one in grade school, but that's why I hadn't seen it, because I've really been wanting to rewatch the original one and then check this one out. But the original one, I believe it's an American film.
Yeah.
Like, it's about the Germans, but they all have American accents, and this one, it's all German. So.
Yeah, and I love that they show the different side, because they always do like war movies and the American side or the British side, but this is like the German side, and you could tell like they teach us in school that the Germans are the bad people, but like the Germans were people too, like they were human, like they would like just put 17-year-olds to war and they would be so excited. They'd be like, oh my god, we're going to war, and then they would die. And that's what they show in the movie, and it's like, oh my god, I feel so bad for them.
The original one, it's always been known, along with there's another movie Stanley Kubrick did called Paths of Glory, which is a great anti-war film. All Quiet, the OG one, was always considered like the best anti-war film, because it really shows how, as a young man, you get all psyched up, ready to go to war, defend your country. They don't teach you all the bad things that come along with it, such as PTSD, injuries. You know, in war, they go and fight. Sometimes they lose their legs, or sometimes they just don't come home at all. And it really dissects everything about that.
Yeah. I used to work at Disney's El Capitan Theater. We had Avatar for like a month straight. I didn't want to watch it because I would see parts of it. Like, yes, I get the CGI. I get why it's so beautiful. Like, computer going underwater, and like, it just looks so real. I just didn't want to watch like a 3-hour movie about that, but I get the hype and everything, and it's crazy that it's like the highest grossing film of all time, like the first one, and then this one almost beat it. I think it's third now, but it's crazy how so many people want to watch that. I feel like it does have an advantage of winning because of that, and I don't even have to watch it, but it could win. It has the potential of winning.
Yeah, I honestly don't think it will win. It's just one of those films where it's kind of like the first one, because the first one was nominated for a lot of awards, special effects. I think that's a given for sure. The movie itself, James Cameron, great director. He's done the first two Terminators. He did the second Alien movie. My favorite movie of his is True Lies, which is a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. It's an action comedy. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. That was the movie that came out before Titanic, and then there's that one too.
Yeah.
So.
Did you see Banshees of Inisherin?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a lot to say about this one. I went to watch it, and I remember I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, I have no idea what this is about, but I'll just go without knowing. And it's basically just like friendship, like someone just doesn't want to be friends with him, and I was like, what the hell, like what the fuck is going on? I have no idea and then I had to research about it, because I love to watch like crazy movies or confusing movies. It's just so good, but then I love to research about it later and look into like the symbolism and analyze it and everything. So I was kind of analyzing, and I understood what was going on, but like it's just like, okay, like I get it, it's so beautiful, like the views and Ireland and everything and all that, but I'm like, it kind of reminded me kind of like the play of Waiting for Godot. It's just two people, like they're just waiting for someone, and it's just so simple, and just two people that are in a fight and their friendship and everything, and he's like, okay, if you call me again, I'm gonna cut my fingers.
And then he does.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. He does. But what did you think?
The director that did this one, he did another film with both of these two called In Bruges, which is very different from Banshees. I guess the same way you were saying, mean, it's pretty simple. It's just about two people that just don't want to be in a friendship no more. And, by the end, that journey of heartbreak, of long friendship just ending. And that's it. But I don't know if I would watch it again, but it does hit home too, because we've all gone through those relationships too that ended bad. And I think it has a good message of what it's trying to say.
Those kind of movies, I feel like it's a very like A24-ish kind of films that it's just like minimal dialogue, or just like those simple movies that you don't see that much. And yeah, you can just watch it one time, but I don't think it's gonna win Best Picture. I don't maybe like screenplay, maybe, but I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, Elvis is good. I liked Elvis. I went to watch it with my parents and I was like, you're in for a treat. Like, it's Baz Luhrmann. It's going to be a whole trip. It's going to be crazy. That's what I was expecting of the movie. It was all crazy, hectic, but it was a good story. It was I feel like they were talking a little bit too much about the manager and I wanted more about the story of Elvis. But I feel like they needed like a villain or a plot. It was good. What do you think?
I didn't think it was going to get the praise it's getting now. I would have never expected for it to be nominated for Best Picture. I figured maybe Austin Butler would have been nominated for actor for sure. I thought maybe Tom Hanks would have gotten some love, but he was not nominated. He was actually nominated for the Razzie, which
Did you hear? Like, a lot of people didn't like his acting or his accent. It was so bad.
But, I thought for what he did was still a good job. Colonel Tom Parker, who he plays, he was a very mean person. Like, he really is the one that eventually killed Elvis. He worked him to death. Baz Luhrmann, right? He's the one that did Great Gatsby.
Yeah. And Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, the way the editing is and the direction, a lot like those movies as well. It's like very, very flashy, fast editing. It's very like spectacular. So I've always been a big fan of Elvis because my mom, growing up, she was a big fan. I grew up watching those movies, listening to his music. So I really enjoyed this one because I grew up with that, especially with my mom.
No, yeah, of course. And we'll get into like the actors and everything, but I mean, Austin Butler did an amazing job as Elvis. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes I would be like, is that Elvis or is that him? I don't know if they Photoshop him.
He did so good that he can't lose the accent now.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't get the hype of this one. I just don't get the hype. It's beautiful, like beautifully filmed. I saw so many like videos on how they created everything and how creative it was, how they did like the whole like CGI during the pandemic, but it was just so crazy and it was just too much for me. The dildo hands or like the butt plug and the rock scene, and it was just like, what is going on? I mean, I get it, it's comedy, it's supposed to be funny, but I'm like, it's just a lot for me. Yeah, everyone loves it. And tell me, what do you think?
It's a multiverse movie, so you're going to get a lot of wacky stuff that comes out of it. I really enjoyed it when it first came out, but I get what you mean. I feel like once the hype got up there and everyone was talking about it, it kind of drew me away from it because that's all everyone was talking about. They were only talking about this movie and not the other nominees that come out. But I still enjoyed it for what it is. I love the acting in it as well. Michelle Yeoh, who also did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's kind of wacky, like the way the old Kung Fu movies used to be back in the 70s. So I think it takes a lot of inspiration from that.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, when I was watching the movie, I was like, this is too crazy. And I could see the inspiration when it came to like Kung Fu movies back in the day. And it kind of reminded me a little of like Kill Bill, like the Japanese cinema, where it's like everything's like all crazy and funny and like fast and like the faces and everything. So I definitely saw that there. I love the representation of Asian American actors because that's what we need more. And I saw all of that. And I'm glad that Daniel Kwan, or what's his name now? Hugh Kwan? Hugh Kwan, he came back and like from the Goonies and Indiana Jones, and I'm just so glad that he's back, and I really hope he wins Best Supporting Actor because I didn't even recognize him.
Will.
Yeah,
I think he will.
He's also so humble in the way that he talks about Hollywood and everything, that there wasn't no like part for him, like because no one wanted Asian actors and everything. So I'm glad that at least they're taking that into consideration and putting more diversity in roles and films. I've seen a change in Hollywood. It's a little one, but I've seen it little by little. Even though I didn't like the movie and I didn't get the hype, I wouldn't be mad if this one wins Best Picture, and I do think it has potential of winning.
I think it will, actually. For a while, I thought, we'll get into the next movie I thought was going to win.
The
that we're going to talk
Fablemans?
about, The Fablemans. But I'm starting to believe that this one will end up winning Best Picture.
So yeah, The Fablemans for me, it really, like you said, it was so relatable. For me, it was just like, oh my God, I need to make a movie now. Like if he could do it, I could do it. And it just made me want to be like, oh, like motivate me to keep going and don't give up and everything. If Steven Spielberg, the best director of all time, was suffering and started with just like a big ass camera and we have like small phones that we can just do at home, we can do it, you know? Like he started from nothing like the 50s and we have technology everywhere. It just made me feel so motivated and I loved his story, and it is a good movie and I love that he talked about his life and everything, but I don't think it has potential of winning. What do you think?
Yeah, I think for a second it did have the potential. And then I was thinking Spielberg was probably going to win director as well. I don't think that anymore, but who knows? He could still win Best Original Screenplay as well. I think this is the first time he's been nominated for screenplay. He's always been nominated for director, but Spielberg's not known to be a writer. So I think that's pretty cool that he put all this down on paper himself and wrote something.
Yeah, you're
special.
probably right. I don't think he's written something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Tar? Mm-mm.
You like it?
I did not like it. I don't get it. Okay. The thing with like people that love movies, sometimes like they either hate a movie or they love it, but there's no in between. Tar, I was like, okay, I'm gonna love this movie. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about her acting. This one is gonna be a good movie. I was so confused. I was like, what is this? Her acting was amazing. She, I think, might win, or we'll talk about that, but like, it was amazing. It was a little too slow for me. There was no plot, but what do you think?
It is very pretentious. I'll give it that. It has a lot to do with wealth and class. And when you do reach that status, you talk a certain way. You talk with people a certain way. You're given so much power that you think you could get away with everything. It has a lot to talk about cancel culture, I feel like. That's what the main message is, of course, because there's a lot during the film about, you need to separate the art from the artist. And it's the art that matters the most, but she's the one that ends up getting canceled in the long run. And it's just who knows? I think, when you are that high at that level and you do think you could get away with anything, it goes to show what those certain people go through. Those people that live that life, we can't understand what that life is like, even if we get there. Not yet, at least. I think when you reach a certain point, you're not like everyone else. Your brain works differently, especially if you're just getting paid just to do your art. But she worked herself so high up to become the greatest composer of that time, and I think that's what it pretty much just talks about: cancel culture in a way that we've never seen it before.
Yeah. Do you think it has potential of winning?
I don't think so. There was some talk maybe it would have, but it's too classy of a film to win. I feel like, I feel like if it were to win Best Picture, people would just been like, okay, I think it could have gone to something better. I think even if it did, it would become forgotten within the next year.
Yeah, I feel like it's just one and done for me. But Top Gun, it is the best movie of 2022. It is so good, and I am so glad they waited. It was gonna come out during the pandemic, and they kept backtracking it, because my dad, his favorite movie, and he keeps saying it's Top Gun, and he loves it. And when he found out there was gonna be a second one, he wouldn't stop talking about it. And he's like, no, it's not gonna come out until next year. It's not gonna come out until next. And I was like, Dad, calm down. He was in Mexico and I was here, and I said, fine, I'm just gonna watch it by myself. And I went to watch it not only at a movie theater, I went to watch it at Chinese theater in IMAX, and that was the best decision ever. I was like this, and the screen was ginormous, and oh my god, the pilot scenes or the airplane scenes, my god, I feel like I was flying. And that's when I knew. I was like, this is the best movie in the world. Then I realized that they made the real shots. That's what made it better. It didn't look fake at all. It didn't look like the green screen. A lot of action movies do not get nominated for Best Picture, but I know this one is gonna get nominated just because, when it's a good movie, like Get Out, I feel like it didn't have potential because it was a scary movie that usually scary movies or action movies don't get nominated. nominated, but it got nominated for Best Picture. So when it's like something that's so good that it has to be nominated, I'm so glad it's nominated. I really don't think it might win, but I'm so glad at least it got a nomination.
It's kind of like 2015 when Mad Max got nominated. Big, huge, action-packed movie.
Yeah, and it got everything.
It got everything. And history of the Academy, a lot of those films don't win those types of awards. I think this was a breath of fresh air because I don't think we'll see a blockbuster like this for a while. This, in a way, kind of brought America back together in a way because everyone went to go see it. I took it as was like a love letter, especially those who served in the military. I actually took my dad to go see it, and sometimes it's hard for my dad to like movies, but he really enjoyed this one.
Yeah. The thing is that most sequels don't do well, and this one did amazing, better than the first one.
Especially if it takes more than 30 years for it to be remade again.
Yeah. Triangle of Sadness. So this one I really enjoyed. It was a little too crazy for me. I was like, what the fuck is going on? A lot of vomiting, a lot of a lot of things, but I get what they were trying to express, the rich and how they have this ego and way of thinking. I was reading reviews and people saying I went to watch this at Cannes Film Festival and the rich were just all quiet, and then they went back to their yachts and laughing, and it's that's crazy that it was a message to them. I just love the way that it was also filmed. I'm kind of confused that it's not even nominated for Best Cinematography, because even the way that the camera was moving, acting like we were in the boat, I was getting seasick. I was dizzy for a while.
Yeah.
Just showing how the movements of the camera and everything. The island scene, I was like, what the hell is going on? The same, it didn't have a plot in most of the time, but I understood how it was first the rich, and then in the end the island, the main person who was the leader was the one that was cleaning the rooms. So things like that I understood. It was a little bit boring in some parts. So I don't know. What do you think?
This is another film that talks the subject about power, the wealthy people that are in power. But it goes to show when money really doesn't matter, it's the one that knows what they're doing, knows how to hunt. Those are the ones that end up becoming the ones in charge.
Yeah.
And it's wild how this year there were so many movies that talk on that subject about wealth and class, because just like Tar, I guess the past few years, since the pandemic had started, the rich got richer and the poor got poorer. There's a lot of films coming out talking about that. There's The Menu that came out, Infinity Pool, that kind of talks a lot about the wealth as well.
Maybe they're trying to tell people hey, be more humble.
So it just goes to show that the subject on everyone's mind is the war between the wealthy and the poor.
And I'm kind of glad they're doing that, because it's Hollywood, it's weird for Hollywood to make fun of the wealth and the power. But yeah, and Woman Talking, even though we both haven't seen it, and it would be so funny if we're just saying oh yeah, we don't think it's gonna win it.
But yeah, I didn't realize it was the same ones that did No Man Land. I'm just seeing now, Frances McDormand was the producer on it. It'd probably be a movie I'll check out and then never see again.
Yeah, exactly. One and done. Yep. For all these 10 Best Pictures, which one are you rooting for? For me, of course, I would say I enjoy The Fabelmans the most. That's the one I'm rooting for, but I do believe it's going to end up being Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I think I'm going to go with Everything Everywhere All at Once or Avatar. The two of those, but I think it is going to go to Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, and what I've learned from past Oscars, whoever wins either one of the screenplays,
they usually get Best Picture.
Those are the ones that get Best Picture.
Yeah. Let's go with Best Actor. Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Well, Paul Mescal for Aftersun, and Bill Nighy for Living. Who do you think?
I think this is Brendan Fraser's year.
You think?
I think so. It's going to be between him and Austin Butler. Austin Butler won the Golden Globe for it, and then Brendan Fraser won the Critics' Choice. But the most important one it comes down to is the Screen Actors Guild. That's another award show that you need to pay attention to, because most cases whoever wins the Screen Actors Guild is the one that goes on to wins the Oscar for it.
Really? So, when is the Screen Actors Guild?
I believe it's next week. Yeah, so keep a look out for that.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but a majority of the time, because they're all the same voters.
Yeah.
So we'll see next week who ends up winning that one.
Yeah. I am rooting for Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser. I love The Well. That one is a movie that really like stuck to me. I cried so much and it was just so hard to see. I just love, what's his name?
Darren Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky. Yes, I just
Yeah.
love him. And I knew that I was going in for a treat because, I mean, Black Swan and Mother, the way that these movies are so like dark and crazy. And I just knew that The Well was going to be something like that. I remember that the first scene, if you watch the movie, you're like, I'm like, what the hell? But it was just so good. And it was slow, so I get why it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. And it was also in a very play-like way. Those kind of movies usually don't get seen for Best Picture, but it was just such a great performance. And I just love watching the interviews of him and being so humble and nice and happy and positive. But also Austin Butler was so good in Elvis. Like he transformed into him and he studied and even his voice wasn't the same after. And you could tell he really wanted it to be a good job and just a special homage for the family, even though like Lisa Marine passed away and everything. And I don't know, people are saying that it's Oscar bait, even though that has nothing to do with like passing away. But like, I think I want it to be Austin Butler just because he's young and has potential of doing bigger, better movies. But Brendan Fraser, oh my God, like it was so good. So yeah, it is definitely between those two. I have no idea who to choose.
Brendan Fraser, it's nice seeing him back again. And
yeah,
for a while he was blacklisted, just like they did the first time. They're enjoying him for what he does because he's very talented, and we grew up with a lot of his movies, such as George of the Jungle. George of the Jungle, The Mummy, of course. It's great seeing Brendan Fraser back in a big way. So if he does win the Oscar, like what a career it has been for him, like up and down. He was up here, then he was gone for a while, and then just out of nowhere he came back.
No, the Critics' Choice Award, like that speech that he made, I was crying. The way that he was crying and saying like dreams do come true and everything. Oh my God, that made me tear up.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell, he was okay, but I don't think he might win. Paul Mescal, I saw After Sun. It was one of those movies that it was so slow and I just didn't get it at first, but after analyzing it and understanding that he killed himself, even though I did not understand that in the movie, it was so, I don't know if I just spoiled something to you. Sorry.
No, it's all right. No, I haven't seen it, but no, that's fine.
It's good.
Yeah, I've heard great things about it.
Yeah,
so that's one film I want to check out.
Yep. Yeah, but his acting wasn't like special. Like it was just okay. And Bill Nye, I went to see the movie the day before yesterday. I left.
Really?
I've never left a movie theater. And this one, I was just like, this is so slow. I am falling asleep. I do not want to be here. Okay, I saw his acting. I need to go. This is not good.
It's like very British, right? Like that kind of...
Yes. Yes. And I wasn't feeling it that day. I just wanted to see his acting. And he's just... okay, he's slow in it. He's just very like, I'm an old man.
Yeah.
But that's it. Definitely Austin Butler or Brendan Fraser, one of those. Let's go with Best Actress. So we have Cate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams, The Fablemans, and Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere All at Once. What do you think?
Great set of nominees. New people have been nominated and some veterans as well. Cate Blanchett, I want to say she's won 2, maybe 3. I think it's 2. I do believe she's going to reach the all-time elite status and she's going to win her 3rd one.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
Would I want Michelle Yeoh to win? Yes, but I kind of feel like it's leaning towards Cate Blanchett.
Did you see the other movies or no?
I did not, actually. To Leslie kind of came out of nowhere. It was like a late release. She wasn't nominated for anything, and then next thing you know, boom, she got nominated. I've seen her in another film called Mandy, the one that we're showing this week. She's the lead actress in that one, and she also did another one called, it's a David Cronenberg movie, but it's very like body horror type. She does a lot of horror, dark movies. So this one, she's playing a person that won the lottery, and that kind of becomes her downfall. And so it's actually set in West Texas, but it wasn't filmed here. It was filmed in LA, but everyone in the film has West Texas accents.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard about Andrew Riseborough, but it was a very controversy pick. People were like, there were so many other good nominees. People were saying like Viola Davis in Woman King got overshadowed, or Danielle Deadwyler in Till. When I heard her name, I was like, oh, who is that? It was very like a shock pick because no one expected that.
Yeah.
But yeah, people were like hating on her and everything, but props to her. I haven't seen the movie. I really don't want to be honest, but if she wins I will watch it, but I don't think it will, because yes, the other nominees are better, Cate Blanchett and Tar. I do think she could win, but I'm just like, okay girl, you got your spot, let other people like, yeah. I don't know, she is a good actress. She is good, but like this is gonna be controversial, but like Ana de Armas in Blonde was amazing. It was so good, but that movie was so controversial.
Why was that, by the way? Because I remember hearing a lot of people talk bad about it, and it even surprised me she even got the nomination, because when you look at the reviews for it, they're all bad. So
did you watch it?
I did not actually.
I definitely recommend for you to watch it. It's on Netflix too. So the controversy basically is that they were saying a lot of bad stuff about Marilyn Monroe. They should just let her rest in peace, because they made her look like a sex symbol, and they were talking about her threesome. They showed her several times naked. So many things, drugs and alcohol and her mental illness. Instead of like showing the good times and the good ways of her, they were showing only the bad things. I thought it was going to be like a biopic of, you know, how many like movies that recreate biopics, they talk about the person, like the person that died, and then they say like rest in peace and everything that she did well, but it was just so many negative things about her. People were kind of mad about it, especially women, because they were just like sexualizing her. But oh my god, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. If only they made the story better, I think it could have been nominated for Best Picture, because the director, if you see the movie, he remakes the historical pictures of Marilyn Monroe, the one where she's like doing the skirt thing. There's a picture of her and he remakes it with a video. He married Arthur Miller, and there's this very historic picture of them together in like a window, and they're just sitting there like posing, and he recreated that in the movie, like they're talking, a picture come to life, the colors and the costumes, it is so like similar. Ana de Armas did an amazing performance of Marilyn Monroe, like same as Elvis. There were times where I just didn't know if it was Marilyn Monroe or if it was her. I think she could have won, but because of the controversy, and if she wins, there will be a lot of backlash. So I think it would be best for it to just be a nomination. And I really like Michelle Williams' performance. I really wanted her to win. I don't think she's ever won an Oscar, but I was like, this is beyond amazing.
Yeah.
You could tell that she was like, because I heard a lot of things, that she was like Oscar baiting, or like she wanted that Oscar, so she was trying too hard. I don't know, like I'm hearing more about Cate Blanchett, but I prefer Michelle Williams to win. And Michelle Yeoh, yes, of course, Everything Everywhere All at Once. It would be amazing for her to win, because yes, diversity, older Asian actress, and we don't see that much.
No, for sure. I think it's going to be Cate Blanchett, but don't be surprised, because when this category comes up, there's always an upset every other year.
Yeah.
So even though we're saying Cate Blanchett, don't be surprised if Michelle Yeoh comes in and snags it for her.
Or Andrew Riseborough.
Yeah, that's the thing about those films. This category, especially, it's the ones that aren't being talked about that sometimes sneak up and get it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go director. For directing, we have The Banshees of Inisherin, Martin McDonagh, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing something. The Fabelmans, Steven Spielberg, Tar, Todd Field, and Triangle of Sadness, Ruben Östlund. You go first. What do you think?
Another great set of directors. I had said that this is going to be Steven Spielberg's to lose, but last night was the Directors Guild Awards. The one that won those were the two Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So that's another award, a show that comes in place of whoever wins that one tends to end up winning the Oscar.
Yeah. So I would also go with the two Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, or Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. because like I said, the way that he shot those scenes, like you're inside the boat, that was one of a kind and you don't see it that much. Either go with that or the two Daniels.
Yeah, I was really hoping this was going to be Spielberg's year because it's been a while. I believe the last one he won was Saving Private Ryan back in the late 90s. So
that was
it's
a
been a
while.
good while since he's won.
Yeah. But I mean, it's Steven Spielberg. He doesn't need another one.
Yeah. True.
He's okay. He's okay. He'll survive.
That is, yeah. He has plenty of nominations too. So either way, he's still history, right? He's still considered the greatest director of all time. Just about.
Yeah.
He has a legacy that backs him up. So
exactly, it's fine. He'll survive. Yeah. Supporting: Brendan Gleeson in The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry in Causeway, Judd Hirsch in The Fablemans, Barry Keoghan in The Banshees of Inisherin, and Ki Hugh Kwan, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
We talked about it already. I think Ki Hugh Kwan, this
Same.
is his year.
Yeah.
He's won every award for it. Golden Globe, Critics' Choice. We just got to wait and see. The SAG Awards come in. But I think it's for sure it's going to be.
Yeah, and I just love the speeches that he makes. He's just so happy. He's just like, thank you. And I just love people that reach their dreams, you know? And you could tell that he almost gave up on his dream, and Hollywood for a long time just didn't want it, Asian actors, and he needs that award. And oh my god, if he wins, that speech is gonna make me cry.
Yeah, it's wild to think that Steven Spielberg was the one that gave him his first shot at acting with the Goonies and Indiana Jones, and both of them are nominated this year. So it's pretty cool to see. I was very surprised that Judd Hirsch for The Fablemans was nominated, because I think screen time, he's only in there for like a good 15 minutes.
Yes, exactly. I was like, did they struggle knowing? And you know what? I honestly, Paul Dano could be nominated for Best Supporting, but it wasn't his best. I honestly didn't like his performance that much.
Yeah, he was very straightforward in this performance. If there was one he could have been nominated, it was probably the Batman.
Yes. No, I was expecting Robert Pattinson to at least get nominated for Best, but hey, it's an action movie. Best Supporting Actress: Angela Bassett in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Hong Chow in The Well, Kerry Condon in The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Hsu, sorry if I'm mispronouncing, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Okay, what do you think?
I think it's going to be Angela Bassett. I think she's going to be the first one in a superhero movie. I mean, Heath Ledger won for The Dark Knight. Marvel-wise, MCU-wise, I think she's going to end up winning, be the first major actor to win.
The first? Really?
Yeah, like MCU-wise, there has yet to be anyone nominated for the acting category.
Well, I mean, what's his name? Chadwick Boseman. He was nominated but didn't win.
But it wasn't for Black Panther. Like, those actors have been nominated.
It wasn't for Black Panther.
For other films, for like the movie itself. This is the first time we've seen this nominated.
The thing is that I was kind of surprised that it was nominated, like Black Panther. I would love for her to be nominated because she's amazing and I love her. I think it's gonna be Angela Bassett. She's been winning awards right now.
I didn't like Jamie Lee Curtis nominated. I didn't think.
Yeah, I think that was just like a little throw, like, oh, she's famous, let's just put her in.
There's one that I think that should have been nominated and deserved it, was Sadie Sink, The Whale.
Yes, instead of Hong Chow.
Yeah.
Same. Let's go with screenplays. Adapted screenplay: All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Knives Out Mystery, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Woman Talking. All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Knives Out Mystery, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Woman Talking. And if you don't know what adapted screenplay means, is that it's been adapted. It's not original. That's what it means. But what do you think?
You know, it's going to be an interesting category because, like I said earlier, whoever wins either adapted or original is the one that goes on to win the Best Picture. The nominees that we have, like for sure, Glass Onion and Living, are not nominated. I think it's going to be All Quiet on the Western Front that probably ends up winning this one. I think it also win Best Foreign Film. I think it's kind of a given since it's the only foreign film that's nominated for Best Picture. But you never know about this one. Sometimes in between those two categories, sometimes the one category, they're not going to win for sure Best Picture, but the other one, which is original, that's going to be the more stronger category out of this one.
Yeah.
I don't think Top Gun will win. It'd be cool if it does, but I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I am also rooting for All Quiet on the Western Front. Maybe Woman Talking, but yeah, I don't think so. Original screenplay: we have Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. What do you think?
For a while, I was saying The Fablemans but Everything Everywhere All at Once, it has to win this in order to win Best Picture. But don't be surprised if Tar out of nowhere wins it.
You know, I'm gonna go with The Fablemans for original screenplay. I think.
Really?
Yeah, and I really want Steven Spielberg to win screenplay because, yeah, you're probably right. It might be his first time. From all those, I think it was the best one, to be honest. If we're talking about story wise.
Yeah, and if Fablemans do end up winning, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up in winning Best Picture too and becomes the biggest upset.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Oscars, especially in recent years, you know, all these Guilds Awards matter. The thing about the Academy, so many new members have been added recently. On top of that, the way the voting works, everyone for each category votes for their first place vote, second place vote. In recent years, that's why there tends to be upsets, because even though a certain category wins their first place vote, it all depends what they vote for their second one.
Yeah.
Their second and third place. Because a lot of times, those are the ones that end up winning number-wise. When they all get calculated, they end up becoming more important than the first place votes. So it's going to be interesting to see this year, especially. So,
Yeah.
but I won't be surprised there are a few upsets that happen this year.
No, yeah, but like I said, I'm not too like excited about this year. The screenplays, like the story for me, wasn't there this year. Like, and none of the screenplays I'm excited about. The best one there was Fablemans, and it wasn't my favorite movie this year. I don't know. Let's do 2 more, and then we can be good with this because there's a lot of nomination things, but I think we're just going through the most famous ones. I can talk about movies for hours on end, so I need someone to shut me up. Let's do 2 more. Let's go with Cinematography, All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, Elvis, Empire of Light, and Tar. What do you think?
Neither. I say that because I was really surprised that Top Gun didn't get nominated for this one.
Yes, exactly. And Triangle of Sadness.
I'm just saying it's kind of hard to tell who will win this category. I mean, it could probably be All Quiet. With the technical nominees such as sound and cinematography, it's usually war films that end up winning it.
I'm gonna go with Bardo. Bardo is a movie that Iñárritu did. It's on Netflix. I haven't seen it, but I saw the trailer, and with just the trailer, you could tell that it's beautiful.
I forgot that was coming out.
And I mean, it's Iñárritu, so I love him.
So is it out on Netflix yet?
Yes, it's on Netflix.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with that one, but it's so stupid. I mean, I know that Top Gun is not gonna win Best Picture, but I was like, okay, at least it could win cinematography. But I'm like, what the fuck? It's not even nominated.
Out of all the cinematographers here, Roger Deakins is the only one I know. He did Empire of Light. For a long time, he was one of those guys that were nominated over 20 plus times but could never win.
Really?
And I want to say he ended up winning his first one for 1917.
Oh, is it the guy from 1917? Because that one was a good one.
Yeah, that one ended up winning cinematography when it was nominated.
Wow. Let's go with our last one. Let's go with animation. So we have Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with No Shoes On, Puss in Boots, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red.
If I'm being real, I haven't seen any of the nominations. For a while, I've actually been trying to watch Puss in Boots because I've been hearing great things about it. There was another Puss in Boots film that came out probably like 10 years ago, but it was kind of like one of those throwaway movies. They just did it just for a cash grab. But I've been hearing great things about Puss in Boots.
Yeah, it's crazy that this one was nominated. And if you think about it, Shrek, the first movie, that was the first movie ever to win an Oscar for Best Animation. So it's like, yeah, of course it has potential because it's always been Disney. Disney movies have been always winning Best Oscars for animation, but this was a bad year for Disney.
Yeah.
Like no good Disney movies, only Turning Red. Turning Red was straight to streaming services, to Disney Plus. Same with Luca. Luca was so good and they just went straight to Disney Plus. The pandemic, I guess.
True.
I don't know.
Quick fact about animation. It wasn't until like 2002 when the category was invented. Crazy to think that it took that long. You would think that it would have happened before. Now, speaking on Disney, I was looking this up. The one who has the most Oscars of all time is actually Walt Disney himself.
Really?
He won a lot of special achievement Oscars. Walt Disney has 40 Oscars, believe it or not.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that. Well, I mean, even though I'm rooting for Disney movies, because Disney is like the best animation out there, I think I'm going to go with Pinocchio, and I think it's going to win.
Yeah,
just because
that's the one
everyone's talking about it, and yeah, Guillermo del Toro, I love him.
The big three of the Mexico directors, who's your favorite?
Alfonso Cuarón. Just his style of movies is just so good. I don't know if you've seen Y Tu Mamá También.
I've heard of it, and I've not seen it. I've heard good things about it.
Yeah. Well, I did a podcast about talking about the three directors. I decided to watch some of their movies just so I can talk about them. And I was just like, I'm going to watch it in the background. I don't think I'm going to like it, but I was like hooked. Yeah. It's just such a good coming of age film. Diego Luna and what's his name? Gael Garcia. They're small in this movie. Like they're very young, and they just go on a road trip with an older woman, and they're like having fun with her. And it's just so like, I don't know. It's just so good. And I haven't seen a movie like that. And I don't know. I like it. And I think it's one of my favorite films right now. And I just love the way that he directs movies. I want to focus and follow his steps, because for me, Guillermo del Toro is a little too fantasy like, and I'm not into those type of movies. And Iñárritu, I like, my Spanish is coming out, but Iñárritu, I like him, but yeah, it's a little too much. Like Birdman, yeah, I like him, but for me, Cuarón is more like raw and real, even though Gravity has nothing to do with it. But like, it's just so, I love it.
He also did, I haven't seen all the Harry Potter films, but he did do the best one.
He did the third one.
Yeah, Prisoners of Azkaban.
And that also like makes me so happy for him, because he did a British movie out of nowhere, like of one of the best like franchises of all time. He's amazing, and I would love to have a talk with him and just, I don't know, I feel like I have a lot to talk to him.
Yeah.
Get to know him.
Alejandro's probably my favorite, because I do love me some Birdman.
Yeah, no, it's a good movie.
That and The Revenant.
Oh yeah, The Revenant. Is there a movie that you really loved this year that wasn't even in this whole nomination list?
For animation, there was one that came out. It was done by Richard Linklater. He did Dazed and Confused, Boyhood, which is one that more filmmakers tend to know.
Before Sunrise.
Yeah.
I love him.
He's done animation films where he'll shoot it on film, but he does like these filters on it to make it look like animation. It's called Apollo 10 and a half. A Space Age Childhood. It's a Netflix film. That was probably the most fun I had in the theater in a good while. Before Apollo 11 went to the moon, they sent this kid to space, the moon first, to kind of be like their guinea pig. The trailer makes it seem like it's all like a big space movie, kind of epic. It has to deal with that. I would say it has to deal like probably like 10%, but it actually deals with growing up in Houston, Texas in the 1960s. I feel like for me, who grew up in Texas, I can relate a lot to it.
Yeah.
It kind of just talks about during that time of what people were going through, because it's kind of building up to the moon landing, because it was Apollo 11, but it's called Apollo 10 and
Apollo 10 and a half.
But I would check it. It's a Netflix movie, so you're able to see it. That was probably the first movie I saw in theaters, and the next day I watched it on Netflix.
I'll look into that. Yeah,
that was on my top 10. The podcast that we do for Lords of Film, me and my co-host Jen, we did a top 5. My top 5 in no order was Apollo 10 and a half, of course, The Fabelmans, Top Gun, and Nope. That's actually another film that didn't get no love. Out of all the categories, I would have loved if that was nominated for Best Cinematography.
Cinematography, because they did not film anything at night. That was amazing and unique and original. CGI could also have been nominated, but I just didn't like the movie, to be honest. And I feel like maybe it's because I was expecting a lot, and I was waiting so long for that movie, and I was like, oh my god, Jordan Peele is releasing a new movie. I'm so excited. It just didn't reach my expectations. What did you like about it?
I'm a big fan of Westerns. I wouldn't say it is a modern Western, but there's elements to it. That's what I liked about it. I thought it was interesting how the tragedy that they portray in there, and then it kind of just goes back and forth. You know, us as a society, aliens kind of become a big thing, and it's kind of crazy to think that Hollywood is reflecting on that too. So I just loved it overall. I enjoyed the acting.
I mean, Keke Palmer, she was amazing.
And then another film, my last film that I'll talk about, didn't get no love, is nominated for Best Music. Is Babylon, Damien Chazelle.
That's the one that I was gonna Say, yeah. I'm a big Damien Chazelle fan, and I love his movies so much. And I love that he incorporates jazz in all of them. My expectations were high on this one too. When I saw it, I feel like there was a lot of things that didn't have to be in them because it was a little too long. I understand why it could have not been nominated, but I feel like he put so much in it that it could have at least been nominated for something. Well, I mean, it did get like, I think best costume or something.
I think it was production design.
Oh yeah. Or I don't think it's nominated for best music either. And I'm like, why? It's just so good. But the thing is that, yeah, the story's a little, like I said, this year the stories were not good at all. But the production and the editing and the way that they showed when microphones were invented and they made it look like, okay, action, and then the hand and all those things, that was cinema. That was something that you never see. And I feel like maybe later in years, people are going to see that movie and be like, this is historic. This is an amazing movie, because you don't see that in most movies, how they portray how movies were made in the 1920s. And I just love the chaos and craziness and everything, but it was a little too much for me. I don't know. And to be honest, Margot Robbie, I don't think she should have been in that movie because she's just too much right now. She's like, oh, everyone knows who Margot Robbie is. Like, we don't need another Margot Robbie movie. I feel like if it was me, I would have casted a new face, but that's just me.
So I don't know if you know this, Damien Chazelle, when he was doing casting, he couldn't get her because scheduling conflicts. But it was actually supposed to be Emma Stone that was going to play that part. Of course, they worked together on La La Land. I think she would have been a good choice too. I think the reason why it got mixed reviews and no one went to go see it, because this was a big flop. Like, absolutely, like, little to none of people went to go see it. Because when I saw it, it was me and my brother, and there was like another group, and that was it. I think the reason why no one went to go see it, because the trailer just shows that it's like just this big party and big party only. They don't really go into detail that it's about the silent era transitioning to the talkie area, and it just shows that a lot of those actors that were big at that time, they struggled.
Yeah,
because they just had to act emotionally and through face. They weren't trained to read dialogue on film. It was a hard transition, especially going from that to sound.
No, yeah, I heard that it was also a marketing problem, and yeah, I heard that it was a flop. Like, they put a lot of money into it, and yeah, no one went to see it.
But I'm still a big Damien Chazelle fan. He did Whiplash, La La Land. I still enjoy First Man, the one he did with Ryan Gosling. That one's actually about Apollo 10. Even though this did flop, I'm still glad I was one of the few to go see it.
The music is so good. In the end, like the last 5 minutes of the movie, or the last 3, when he's watching the movie, it's just like so much going on. And with the music, I'm like, it feels like I'm having like a stroke or something. And
you're talking about the montage of the history of the film. It was a trip when I saw that, because within this past year, when I went to tech, I studied a lot of film. Recently, within this past year, I've been going on deep dives on film from like the very beginning. I was actually watching quite a bit of silent films from that era. And so the montage that it had, I had actually seen quite a bit of those films. I felt like I was probably the only one that understood a lot of those references.
No, yeah, it was good. But anyways, like I said, we can be talking here for a while and time can go on. No, but I'm glad that I can talk to someone about this and they won't like freak out. But yeah, thank you, Bradley, for talking with me and giving me your feedback of the Oscars. If you want to watch the Oscars, it's going to be, when is it? March 12th?
March 12th.
March 12th. I'm going to react to them. I'm going to record myself reacting to it just in case. Anything you want to add? Any Instagram plug? Your podcasts?
Of course, Instagram. Follow me at Bradley Noel Garcia. Follow the podcast that we do, The Snake Pit with Rattlesnake Roy. You can follow Rattlesnake Roy on Instagram. You can follow my co-host, Lords of Film, Hella Soft. You can follow Chris Vargas, Season 3. You can follow Lords of Film, of course. That's the main one. We talk about a lot of films, new and old. If you're also in Lubbock, Texas, you come to one of our screenings. We'll show a lot of great films, mingle, and talk about movies. So
cool. There you have it. Thank you guys for watching. If you want, you can like this video. You can subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you, Bradley.
Thank you. Appreciate it.